Got one that a lot of you folks will relate to around here. It's called the Rock Creek Gather. Happened down here just by Bazaar a few years back. Early one morning before the sun did peak, we set out to gather the cattle below Rock Creek. Earl saddled the brown mare and I caught up my filly. To require any more hands, well, seemed plumb silly. We took the old dog Rusty to help gather down south. This won't take long, I shot off my mouth. To the far end of the pasture we set out at a lope. To get 'em all with one circle we surely did hope. Mother Nature didn't help us to make a hand this day. Why, there was rain clouds a-boiling not very far away. But we got them yearlings bunched and we headed 'em down the hill, and we was right proud of our amazing cowboy skill. But all at once them heifers, they began to mill about. Watch that crazy brindle, Earl gave a shout, and she headed for the timber with a 9 bent in her tail, with the rest of the gather right hot on her trail. We knew we had to head 'em no matter what cost, 'cause once past the rock slope, they'd all be lost. Go sick 'em, Rusty, I gave the command. I knew the old dog would lend a helping hand. But old Earl, he turned that brindle by running lap and tap, but when it was over, his bridle was in his lap. And the brown mare was still snorty from the previous big chase, and down the rock slope she ran with much haste. The rocks were a-flying and huge branches he'd duck, all the while a-shouting, "Whoa, you son of a buck!" To solve his dilemma, old Earl, with great care, he leaned way forward and he cut off her hair. We assessed all the damage down at the bottom of the hill, and man, beast, and saddle were all intact still. And all's well that ends well, but more help we will seek the next time we go out to gather the Rock Creek.
Gathering wild horses. The growling nicker and stiffening gait beneath me, we must be getting near. Up and out of the buckbrush draw, view obscured in the rising slope as yellow, white, and pink fall seed heads bend and tremble in the October breeze. My horse a shiver now, he dances off the trail as we pass their droppings, the scent alien, primitive, somehow uncivilized to him. Then we see them, upwind on the next hillside, heads down deep in Indian grass and blue stem, a rangeland feast for sagebrush mustangs, still unaware as we trot into view. In unison, their bent silhouettes lift, heads up, noses high, eyes turning to frame us. Legs bend, stiffen, and away they charge. The stallion, 3 mares, the yearling, and 2 strong colts, all of fiery red-edged black, their ebony muscles lined and fluid in an instant run. They trace the plateau rim rock west, tails high, the long blue-ridged horizon, their thoughtless destination. We follow at a fearful gallop, keeping up, but dreading our horses will blindly fall at some place the mustangs would sense ahead and sail across. We come alongside to turn them north, but inflict no deviation in their flight, no domestic acquiescence here. 3 hours later, they are in the corral, shiny wet, breathing harder from fear than exhaustion. A high-stepping show horse, the stallion heads his group to a corner, his knotted mane hanging far below his neck, tail held up but still nearly reaching the ground. He turns, and suddenly I catch his eye, threatening and innocent, a solid black window to another time, as close as I will see. Thank you.